Hi, I'm Weiland. Backstory, as we all know, is called backstory for the very reason that it belongs in back of the story. It's not the point of the story, it's just, in a sense, the explanation for it. So naturally, we're always careful not to let the backstory take over. We're alert to its sneaky attempts to horn in and hog more of the limelight than it deserves. But what if your backstory does merit more time than you can give it? Whenever I outline a story, I always write in-depth backstories for all of the characters. And sometimes those backstories end up taking on a life of their own, to the point that they actually end up being more informative and compelling than the original plot. So what do you do if this happens to you? You may want to stick with your original story, which will mean stuffing your upstart backstory back where it belongs. Often this means simplifying complicated motivations and trigger points in your characters' pasts so that you can explain them in the story proper with the least amount of trouble or potential confusion to the reader. However, there are a couple more options. It could be that your story is just too big for one book. You might want to consider turning it into a series with the backstory featured as the first book. Or you might want to go ahead and write your original story with an eye toward turning the backstory into a prequel later on. It's also possible that you may want to ditch your original idea altogether. If the backstory is the more interesting of the two, it's the story that deserves to be told. Finally, you might want to consider the popular, if sometimes tricky, technique of framing your backstory in a lengthy, we're talking hundreds of pages, flashback with the original plot appearing at the beginning and end of the book, much as William Faulkner did in his classic Light in August. Whatever you decide, just remember that whatever interests you most is probably what will interest your readers as well.